Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here, and I'm particularly honored to be introduced by Leo Gerard, a man for whom I have such enormous respect. He embodies what this organization is all about. What we want are the alliance of people who care about jobs and people who care about the environment, because they really go together. This is the 6th annual conference of Good Jobs, Green Jobs, and your message gives a lie to the arguments that we have to choose between protecting our economy and protecting our environment. They go together. It's just like the line we heard from the right wing. Well, we have to choose between jobs and workers' safety and workers' rights. When we have collective bargaining, when we have regulation to make jobs better for people and safer for people, our economy grows. We can't be forced to choose between workers' rights and safety and the economy, or the environment and the economy. We're all in this together. So I thank you for your leadership and your vision. I want to talk about climate change, which I believe is the gravest environmental threat we face, and may be one of the greatest threats we've ever faced. Addressing climate change is a moral issue. We must act to prevent the worst scenarios from becoming a reality. We must protect our children and future generations from the unavoidable impacts. As Leo Gerard mentioned, I've been working on this issue for some time. In 1992, when some of you were just children, I introduced a bill to stabilize the carbon emissions. That didn't go very far, but in 2009 we got a bill that was comprehensive energy carbon control bill, the Waxman-Markey bill, through the House of Representatives, with the support of maybe all of you, but certainly many of you were very active in getting that legislation passed. It passed the House. Unfortunately, the Senate didn't act. And then the Republicans won the election and took over the House of Representatives. And they don't want to talk about climate change. They don't believe in the science. They don't want to hear from the experts. They have voted over and over and over again to stop regulation. They don't want us to fund research. They don't want the U.S. government to encourage other countries to do anything in this area. They want to completely put their heads in the sand. Well, we can't do that. We can't ignore this problem. We have made progress, despite them, through a lot of actions that the administration has taken, and some things that Congress did as well. Our cars and trucks are clean and getting cleaner. We've had record deployment of renewable energy. Dirty power generation is being replaced with cleaner generation. And we've accomplished a lot in reducing carbon emissions, but we have a lot more work to do. Our fight is not over, and it's now more critical than ever that we work together to solve this global challenge. For decades, experts have talked about the potential future threats from climate change. They've warned us that in the future, we'll face extreme heat waves, floods, droughts, wildfires, ocean acidification, and dramatic sea level rise. As a result, many thought of climate change not as a problem for now, but something we can do later, a problem we can deal with later. Well, it's now happening faster than ever expected. We're already seeing the powerful effects of climate change on this nation. Scientists are now observing, measuring, and monitoring extreme events not only in the United States, but throughout the world. We are witnessing these predictions come true, and they are alarming. Scientists have attributed climate change recent extreme weather events, such as the 2011 Texas drought, which cost $12 billion, the 2003 summer heat wave across Europe that killed 70,000 people, and the 2008 drought in parts of the Middle East, carbon pollution continues to load the dice, making the likelihood of extreme temperature and precipitation events more likely. Superstorm Sandy demonstrates how impacts of climate change on sea level, hurricane intensity, and storm surge can profoundly impact even our largest coastal communities. Storms and other weather events that occurred once in a century are now occurring multiple times in a decade. This is no longer an issue for later. Climate change is a threat to American families and especially to our children and grandchildren who will bear the brunt of the impacts. How serious will it be? Well, according to recent scientific research, if we stay on our current track, by mid-century, extreme summer heat waves will be the new normal. Our coastal communities will face extreme flooding risks. The ocean's coral reefs could simply dissolve. We can spend money after the disaster strikes, or we can spend money to decrease the risks of these disasters by funding mitigation and adaptation activities. So in the House, we're concerned about it. And Congressman Bobby Rush, who's the ranking member of the Energy Subcommittee, and I have sent over 20 letters to the chairman of our full committee, Fred Upton, and we said to him, why don't we hear from the experts? Why don't we have a hearing, just a hearing to learn the facts? And we've been rejected every time. We've had a lot of oil and coal executives give their views, but they won't listen to the experts on the threat from climate change. That's one reason I've started the Congressional Bicameral Task Force on Climate Change with Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. Our goal is to better educate the public and our colleagues, identify ways we can work together toward real actionable solutions. We want Congress to act, and if it won't act, we're going to push the administration to do all it can. I've also formed another group of just House members called the Safe Climate Caucus. Our goal is to speak every day on the House floor about the need for action. When you're in the minority in the House of Representatives, you can't set the agenda, you can't hold the hearings, you can't produce the legislation for markup, but we have something else we can do. We can speak out, and that's why the Safe Climate Caucus was organized. We can speak about the problem. We can continue to talk about it. We can continue to argue for action. And we're not completely powerless. Not only do we have a voice, but we have an administration where the President of the United States has said very clearly in his State of the Union address, if Congress will not act, he will act to reduce carbon pollution. Now, the President of the United States has a lot of authority to act on his own. Under the Clean Air Act, the EPA can set emission standards. The DOE, the Department of Energy, can set energy efficient standards. We know the State Department can go back and renegotiate the Montreal Protocol because HFCs that added to the deterioration of the upper ozone layer are 1,000 times more potent than some of the carbon emissions, and we can get the world to agree to reduce or if not eliminate these HFCs. There are tremendous opportunities associated with taking action. Policies that help reduce emissions, fortify our resiliency, promote clean energy infrastructure. This is going to strengthen our economy and create the next generation of jobs. People always say, oh, we want jobs, but we don't want to have to do things that will take away from jobs, like protect the environment, protect the workers, protect the safety of people in the industries. Well, we say to them, we've got to do these things together. They go hand in hand. In just last month, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that over 150,000 green jobs were created in 2011, bringing the nation's total green jobs to over 3 million. Employment in this space grew at 4 times the rate of all other jobs combined. These new green jobs in industries like construction and manufacturing will continue to support the future clean energy economy. We must continue this economic growth by working together to build a stronger, cleaner economy. We have to encourage the collaboration of industry and government toward actions to reduce emissions and plan for future impacts. We must ensure we protect our environment and future generations. That's what this coalition is all about. We don't want to be pitted against each other. Well, we go without jobs because of that division. We don't want to be pitted against each other, whether it's for labor unions trying to protect their workers or environmentalists to protect the environment. We have got to be together, and together we are stronger. If collective bargaining gave the workers rights, because no individual worker has the strength to negotiate the way they could collectively, together the green and the blue can get us to where we want to be. Greater jobs, good paying jobs, a cleaner environment. I'm delighted to be with you and to wish you all the very best. We've got to continue our fight. Thank you so much.